All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, I want to send all of you thank you for your tremendous support. People are slowly but surely finding out about who we are and what we do. They enjoy and respect the passion with which we speak. But as we always say here at Chin Check Sports Radio, we do this because we love it, as we are simply sharing our passions with you all as we continue to build our listening army to take over the world. We at Chin Check Sports Radio are your go-to on YouTube for your Dallas Cowboys coverage throughout the NFL season, and continuing along with the 2022 Dallas Cowboys Week 15 win at home against NFC East division rival, the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's jump right into our numbers here. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 27 of 35 attempts, 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ezekiel Elliott, 16 carries, 55 yards, 1 touchdown. Dak Prescott, 6 carries, 41 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 10 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, 6 catches, 61 yards. T.Y. Hilton, 1 catch for 52 yards, and we'll get into that. Dalton Schultz, 3 catches, 42 yards. Michael Gallup, 4 catches, 36 yards, 1 touchdown. On the defensive side, Deshaun Wright, 8 total tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Donovan Wilson, 7 total tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Anthony Barr, 7 total tackles, 4 solo. Malik Hooker, 5 total tackles, 5 solo. Deron Bland, 5 total tackles, 4 solo. DeMarcus Lawrence, 4 total tackles, 2 solo. Damon Clark, 4 total tackles, 2 solo. Jaron Kearse, 3 total tackles, 2 solo. Micah Parsons, 3 total tackles, 2 solo. Luke Gifford, 2 total tackles, 2 solo. And Trevon Diggs, 2 total tackles, 2 solo. Now, the Dallas Cowboys coming into this game definitely were still reeling off the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Quarterback Jalen Hurts did not suit up for this game, so the Cowboys played against backup Gardner Minshew and his Minshew Mania. Before we say anything, we're going to say to the Philadelphia Eagle fans who happen to be listening to this broadcast, before you start with the Jalen Hurts didn't play and what would have happened if he did play, I definitely want to bring your memory back to the middle of October when you played the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night with our backup quarterback in Cooper Rush, and when you guys won the game, deservedly so, because you were the better team. But of course, you guys took no pity or any sympathy on us because we were playing with our backup quarterback, and as to the fact your head coach Nick Sirianni was acting a complete ass at the end of the game. So you don't like this win. This is what you're going to do. You're going to sit there and not like it. I know there's a few Eagles fans that are listening to this broadcast right now, and you all can shove it. So, but of course, we at Chin Check Sports Radio, we don't gloss over wins, nor do we overreact to losses. The Cowboys definitely put themselves in a bad position where Dak Prescott again threw a horrible interception that resulted in a pick six. So the Cowboys, before you even blinked, were down 10-0. So now you're definitely playing from behind. The Cowboys responded with an impressive drive that resulted in the Ezekiel Elliott touchdown. So of course you knew that it was going to be a battle. However, the Cowboys' offensive line kind of got whipped today for 6 sacks. So, of course, that's never really good. Again, you have an offensive line that features 2 Hall of Famers. And I get it. You know, Tyron Smith is trying to work his way back. But again, 6 sacks are 6 sacks. I understand the Eagles' defensive line is one of the best in the league, but that's their strength versus our strength. And I think nobody really considered that the offensive line was going to give up 6 quarterback sacks. So despite that, quarterback at Prescott still had an excellent game. Now, on the defensive side, this was not the defense's best game despite the turnovers. So again, even with the numbers, you're going to look at it and say, well, Chin Check, the defense did force 2 interceptions and great plays. I'm talking about one by Jaron Kearse and another one by Deron Bland, who, ladies and gentlemen, has turned out to be quite the steal in this particular draft. Amongst some of the other players, I believe he has 5 interceptions and not even really playing all the games, not even being a full-time starter. So 5 interceptions playing in the slot. We're going to give this kid credit. He is a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. I know people love Sauce Gardner for the New York Jets. They love Aiden Hutchinson from the Detroit Lions. But this kid's name should be right up there with Defensive Rookie of the Year. So the Cowboys, the run defense, I felt was still a little bit suspect. You had Miles Sanders that was ripping off a bunch of chunk plays. But let's go back to the turnovers. So the 2 great interceptions. Of course, they had the 2 fumbles. The one fumble was just, it looks like one bad handoff. The other one was Micah Parsons kind of stuck his hand in there, followed by, I believe it was Carlos Watkins that actually punched a fumble out that gave them the go-ahead field goal to put them up by 6 points. We personally wish they would have scored a touchdown where it wouldn't have come to that last drive, but you take what you can get. The Eagles had two wide receivers gain 100 yards receiving. Now, quarterback Trevon Diggs even stated on Twitter that he didn't have his best game, and clearly he didn't, going against one A.J. Brown. So definitely was not Diggs' best game. Beaten in coverage, bit on a lot of double moves. It was kind of beaten bad today. So, but of course, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Everybody has a bad game. This was his bad game. We only hope that this bad game can lead to now better games going into the home stretch of the season and going into the playoffs. They had to do something with Kelvin Joseph, who looks like he sat his ass on the bench. Nashawn Wright ended up getting the start today. And Nashawn Wright was drafted in 2021 out of Oregon State, was kind of seen as a bit of a project, was seen as maybe a reach to be drafted, but he is those tall corners that Dan Quinn likes, kind of, close to the players that he had in Seattle, long, lanky corners. So Nashawn Wright was seen as a reach. Really didn't see much of the field last season. Was more of a special teams player. I saw a little bit of him during the preseason. Really nothing much that that kind of jumped out. But we felt that he made a couple of plays today. Yes, even though you had Devontae Smith and the Eagles scoring 2 touchdowns, and one of them was a bad play on one Trevon Diggs. But we thought that Wright didn't play that bad starting the game. So again, you have Diggs, who's a solid, who really just had a bad game. You got Nashawn Wright, who wasn't that bad. You got Deron Bland with an interception. So the Cowboys secondary should hold up during the rest of the season. There was one particular play was a key 3rd down stop where Nashawn Wright was able to fight through the block and make the tackle on the ball carrier. So it's those little things that we see, those kind of effort plays that we like to see from players. So those are the kind of things, despite giving up a lot of yardage, despite it being a close game, but those are the things that we definitely like to see from young players, is those plays that, might not show up on the stat sheet, but definitely shows up in film study. The defense, while our offensive line has given up 6 sacks, we got no sacks today. We're finally able to generate some pressure, something of a pass rush, especially on the final series. But I read to you all our defensive numbers, and we got 0 sacks. Folks, the Cowboys pass rush, and yes, we definitely want to wish Sam Williams the best, who was involved in an auto accident. So, of course, I believe he was treated for a concussion. So as a precaution, they kept him away from the game. He stated that he was okay, as well as a person who he was involved in the accident with. And of course, any day, his life, his health, the person's life and health is more important than any football game. So we definitely want to put that out there. So glad he's going to be okay, and hopefully we see him back on the field soon, when he is 100% or at least close to it, or cleared by the medical professionals. So, but again, we still have Micah Parsons, still have Dorrance Armstrong, still have DeMarcus Lawrence. And I'm looking at a pass rush. Hey, where are you? Got Dante Fowler. Where are you guys? Again, 0 sacks last week as the lead was slowly melting away. got nothing out of our defensive line. Again, 1 sack out of Micah Parsons. That was in the first half against the Houston Texans. They were moving the ball up and down the field on the Cowboys. So the Cowboys defense, that was a strength at the beginning of the season, is starting to wear down, especially that front seven, which now leads to problems now on the back end with injuries to Anthony Brown, who really, to be honest with you, you've heard our criticisms of when Anthony Brown, with the injuries to Jordan Lewis, and now a lot of young players on the Cowboys secondary are being tested. In order to help them, where is the pass rush? And the Cowboys pass rush has been virtually non-existent these last couple of weeks. So if you want to be a great defense or talking about an all-time defense, just forget that talk. When you produce on the field, you will be a great defense. So these are the things that the Cowboys have to improve upon if they want to make a sustained playoff push. You look at the San Francisco 49ers, their defense has been playing solid. So these are the kind of things that the Cowboys should be striving for. Clearly some improvement. We think in the offseason to get some serious run stuff in defensive tackles because guys just are not cutting it up front. They'll make a play here and there, but you're clearly seeing them getting pushed around on running plays. And you're probably going to see the Eagles again. You might have played the San Francisco 49ers again. You still have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and playoff Lenny. So the running game, especially the run defense, was always a problem. But the pass rush kind of balanced it out. But now with a lack of a pass rush, especially in the last couple of weeks, a running game, young guys in the secondary can be a recipe for disaster and potentially another one-and-done scenario. So the Cowboys are really going to have to go back to the drawing board here and really try to fix the defense, because you're not telling me that we're going to be doing backflips over beating one Gardner Minshew. I just can't do that. If you're a team that has playoff hopes and that wants to make a sustained run, I need sacks. I need more tackles for losses. Again, I got 0 sacks and 2 tackles for a loss. That shouldn't happen with the type of firepower, especially the way the Cowboys are playing at the beginning of the season. So definitely on the defensive side, we definitely see much improvement, or to get back to the levels that they were at the beginning of the season. Some of the plays of the game, we definitely want to recognize center Tyler Biadasz, who Dak Prescott with a strip sack fumble. And I thought originally that the Eagles defensive players, even though it was bouncing between Tyron Smith and other Cowboys offensive linemen, I thought that one of the Eagles defensive linemen fell on the ball, but a lucky play from Tyler Biadasz to pretty much rip the ball away at the bottom of the pile, which saved the drive, and I definitely got the Cowboys more points on the field. And big up to one T.Y. Hilton. Folks, 3rd and 30. Actually, let me rewind here before we get to T.Y. Hilton. When you wonder why we are critical of Kellen Moore, when you wonder why even last year when the Cowboys were 8-1, 7-1, and people were saying that Kellen Moore is going to be a head coaching candidate, we always stated that these are some of the reasons why we never considered him one, because we weren't really sold on him, and this is why. Again, the Cowboys are moving the ball on the Philadelphia Eagles. They're moving the ball. They are moving the ball much like they did the first time. They're moving the ball on the Eagles consistently, even with their front four, even with Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Hargrave, Sue, Linval Joseph. They're moving the ball. Darius Slay. They're moving the ball on that Eagles defense. Why, oh why, does Kellen Moore forget where he is, call some ridiculous ass trick play, and that results in serious lost yardage? It's stuff like that. When you wonder why he gets a criticism that he does, it's stuff like that. That play should be ripped out of the playbook. When you have an offense, everything within the offense needs to be down the field, getting points. Everything should be going forward. No reverses, no trick plays. Everything is going forward, because they don't have the time to waste to be 3rd and long, 3rd and 20. So those things have to stop. Those things with Kellen Moore has to stop. Again, Tony Pollard was seen more in the passing game. I only got 9 carries out of Tony Pollard. And again, you can say because the Cowboys were behind a lot in this game. But these are some of the things that they have to be mindful of. Dak Prescott played his best game. Again, even though Jalen Hurts didn't play, but he still played against the Philadelphia Eagles starters and had his best game of the season, especially since coming back from being injured. So, and I believe Dak Prescott is the first player or the first quarterback to throw for over 300 yards against that same Eagles defense with all their starters. So, but again, Kellen Moore, cut the BS, keep the offense simple, call the same plays that you called for Cooper Rush. Again, Dak Prescott is much more advanced on Cooper Rush, but this whole trying to be fancy and cute and trying to overthink it, just stop with all that. Just play football. You have the offensive line to make it happen. You have playmakers and CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard. You have an excellent tight end room. Put the ball in their hands. Just design plays. Stop with the tricks and the plays and trying to be cute. Stop with all that. This team is not at that level to be playing like that. So we definitely have to throw our 2 cents in there. And we're definitely going to give a big shout out to T.Y. Hilton on what's that, 3rd and 20, 3rd and 30. A simple go route. Excellent pass by Dak Prescott. Beats Darius Slay, Pro Bowler Darius Slay, for his only catch for 52 yards. And that was huge. That was huge to keep this thing going. So definitely welcome T.Y. Hilton to the Dallas Cowboys. And you definitely earned your keep today. So we definitely want to give him all the credit in the world. So the Cowboys definitely have to keep this thing going. This thing is not over. They play the Tennessee Titans, I believe, who are reeling themselves right now. So, and they play them on December 29th, which I believe is a Thursday night game. So definitely, which is kind of good playing on Saturday because they have an extra day to rest, but they're going to be traveling on the road, going to Nashville. Again, you have a suspect run defense that you're playing against the best running back in football, which is Derrick Henry. So the Cowboys definitely need to right the ship. They are still in the standing of winning the NFC East. Now, I'm confused if they were to win out. I guess if the Vikings win out, then they will be the number 1 seed, but the Cowboys win out and the Eagles lose out, the Cowboys then would win the NFC East, which means that then they would get the home game. So really at this point, just handle your business. They played well today. They did what they had to do to win the game. But let's just say if the Eagles happen to win next week or they clinch or something like that, then the Cowboys can kind of start resting players because especially guys on the defensive side, they definitely need rest. You saw before that last play, the last 4th down, that Michael Parsons clearly was exhausted. He asked for a timeout, thank goodness, and this is why you don't waste timeouts on foolishness. He was able to get a timeout to catch his breath as well as the defense while they were able to generate pressure on that 4th down and the last play of the game for the Eagles on offense. So definitely the Cowboys still have some work to do. A win is a win. Again, he won it, especially on the defensive side. I need to see some improvement on the defensive side. Offensive line has to kind of clear up. Yes, a win is a win, but as we always say here, we do not gloss over wins, nor do we overreact to losses at Chin Check Sports Radio. And folks, definitely before we go, we want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Please be safe. I know certain parts of the country are experiencing severe cold temperatures, and sometimes as people, we have a tendency where we tend to complain about stuff, but for those of you who are sitting in your home listening to this, remember at least these are the times when you sit back and you're grateful for just having a roof over your head, because there are people in this world who don't even have a home to go to in this type of extremely cold temperatures that can literally kill people. So wherever you are, we hope you're safe. We hope that you're warm. We hope that you enjoy this broadcast. You all have a Merry Christmas. If we don't do another broadcast until after the new year, definitely have a safe new year. And until the next time, it's Chin Check Radio. Signing out.